Hello, everyone. This is DrKimDeramo, founder of the American Institute of Mind-Body Medicine, and I'll be sharing today in this video how to get out of fight or flight so that you can heal. So, welcome everyone who's here live, and welcome everyone who is listening to the recording or the podcast of this. I'm always super excited to share and connect this way, and I would love to answer your questions. So just put them in the comment section as we go, and I'll make sure that I'll address them at some point in the next couple days or right here. So what is fight or flight? Well, when we study, as a physician, we study about how the part of the brain, the amygdala, triggers the fear response. It triggers, so you can run from the tiger or fight the offender, like be able to live and survive. So it's a survival instinct. Fight or flight, of course, is a very, it's a blessing that our body can go into this mode of stress and high gear and high alert and like totally being on. What happens is we'll send blood to the muscles. It will alter the blood flow to things like your digestive system or the glands and organs that are really about housekeeping and general health, as opposed to like energy. Let's just like shoot out a high amount of energy and get you into that high gear. So in a short term, it's super helpful. But what happens is there's so many of us living in this chronically, and we're bombarded with the, so to speak, tiger that's chasing us, or the bad thing that's going to happen, or the thing that we need to fight, whether it's fears about the state of the world and all of the things that are happening. There was a real big tragedy a week or so ago with, a shooting in Las Vegas, and this really beautiful, music, the concert juxtaposed with this really heinous, violent massacre. And we hear over and over and over and over about this terrible thing. And so then instead of focusing on like hundreds of people who were heroes in that moment, or, oh my gosh, when this happened, I felt so much love for my family and I knew I wanted to live through this to see them again. Or I threw myself over these people, these kids that were beside me, or my child that was beside me, because that was my instinct, is to protect that person and surrender my life. And these beautiful, beautiful expressions of love that can bring us such a sense of that connection with our divine self and that part of our humanity that is so beautiful and so filled with pure love and so innate. But then instead of that, we're like bombarded over and over and over with, oh, this massacre and this tragedy and this terrible thing and this thing you need to fear and this natural disaster and blah, 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 blah. It keeps your system. It's like messages to your brain and your body that keep you in fight or flight. So what else happens in fight or flight is stress hormones go really, really high. So you're like triggered, you're anxious. It changes the way your brain works. So your brain, instead of having the serenity of, oh, I'm open to seeing the possibilities, I'm open to the awareness of all the amazing blessings that can flow into my life, and I'm in this space of allowing myself to receive them. No, your brain goes into like this, tunnel vision kind of mode where all you got to do is find that tree and climb that tree. Boom, where's the next tree? I got to get away. Or boom, I've got to fight. Where's the spot I need to aim for? And there's like this unbelievable focus to do the thing. If you've ever been in a situation before, it's really interesting. I was in a kind of a life-threatening situation before, someone who was in a very angry state, out of control, and I knew I needed to get the heck out of there as quickly as possible. And I was in that high gear of unbelievable clarity. Boom, I got to grab X, Y, Z, and I knew exactly where they were and exactly what I needed to grab, and I got out of the space as quickly as possible. But there wasn't fear. I was actually in this state of clarity that guided me, and like boom, boom, boom. And then afterward, I let my system settle down. I let my body release that. That's really what animals do, is they'll like have a little shakedown. They'll physically shake off that energy. And that is the release of those, or the dissipation of those stress hormones and the chemicals, and that state where you're fueling the muscles to work and to run, or fueling the brain and shutting off certain aspects of your thought patterns and perception. And you shake that off so that I can come into this new state of serenity. And so the clarity I had in that quote unquote emergent situation really served me. And it wasn't the fear that so many of us are living in all the time. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Oh my gosh, what if I can't do that? Oh my gosh, that we think is helping us. The fear does not help us. The emotion of fear is the anticipation. And that's creates a whole different chemical state in the body that keeps us in fight or flight, like sometimes all the time. Sometimes people can't even sleep because their whole system is in fight or flight. And it certainly blocks healing. It'll mess up your digestion so that you really get kind of inflamed with different foods and you can't tolerate foods. And then, you go to a practitioner and they're like, you got to get rid of these 20 foods and do this very restrictive diet and then you'll be okay. It messes up your hormones, so you can have a lot of mood swings, a lot of irritability, anxiety, depression, weight gain, big time, where it's like, I'm doing everything right. Why can't I lose weight? It can cause autoimmune illness. This is one of the things I see very, very commonly. People living in chronic pain because your body's all geared up. You're like spasming into your muscles. There's a lot of tension. And it's like, why can't I just release this pain? Why can't I get out of pain? You're totally inflamed, so it alters your immune functioning. You get sick more frequently. You can develop a chronic pattern of chronic fatigue syndrome or chronic pain syndromes and all kinds of illness. So these chemical patterns of chronic fight or flight, or it's your sympathetic nervous system. It's like part of the autonomic nervous system, which is your automatic nervous system, kicks in. It's part of your nervous system that's voluntary, like I'm gonna raise my hand and I'm gonna move my body this way and I'm in charge. And then there's the involuntary, where it's like my heart is just beating, it's happening for me. If I'm asleep, my breathing rate regulates itself, it happens for me. My blood is moving through my body, these things happen for me. But it's not, something that I'm in voluntary control of. So in that involuntary nervous system, this is part of what's happening in this fight or flight trigger. So it isn't something that we are voluntarily in charge of, but it is very much something that we can allow to turn off. We got to let our body know, hey body, it's okay. You can let this go. You can come back into serenity. And that will very powerfully open you to receiving health. Now, one of the things I wanted to share about this state of fight or flight that is so crazy, but it's really helpful to understand this, is that, here's your body. You're made of energy. You got your physical body, and then all the perception and awareness that comes in of what you feel, what you're aware of, what you can receive, how others treat you. This kind of comes as like we've got these barriers in our energy field, like, hey, don't come near me. I'm not okay. I don't want to talk to anybody. Or, hey, I'm afraid, or I'm protecting myself because people aren't safe. And these are like these barriers of protection that we don't necessarily see or are aware of, but that are felt energetically. They're felt by our body, and they're felt by the people around us who are perceiving us, who are interacting with us. Like, oh, I'm not sure what's going on with her, but I don't really want to go near her. Or even things like, oh, I'm working so hard. Why can't I make the money I want? Why won't anyone hire me? Why doesn't anyone understand me? Why won't my partner listen to me? Why is everybody always just disregarding me? Well, these are cellular messages, these barriers of protection. And when we're in fear, they are strengthened and they are palpable. And if you ever see kids, they're very energy sensitive. They know when, let me get away from dad, this is not the right time, or this is not the good time to ask mom if I can go sleep over my friend's house. They'll feel you out. And they'll actually play on, if they know something's going on, they're like, oh yeah, I can get her right now. I'm gonna get what I want. They can feel into your energy. We all have that ability, but we actually block it out of our awareness. So the part of our brain that registers that can be inactive as an adult, even though our physical body is registering it. Meaning subconsciously, where am I going to sit in the room? Oh, I'm going to sit next to that person over there. And I think I chose it because I like to sit in the front, or I like to sit in the back. But you're actually choosing it based on all this information that's coming in energetically, this energy that you're receiving. When we have these barriers of protection up, it really alters what we can receive. So we feel like, oh my gosh, life's miserable. It's never going to be okay. And I can't see beyond that. It's like, what do you mean life is infinite? I can have what I need. It's not true. Thank you for the comments that are coming through. That's not true. This is what's true. Well, we think that what we see is what's true. We think that what we perceive is what's possible or what's impossible. But we're really seeing things through these barriers of protection. And when we have fear, we put our protections up. Most people are living in this state all the time. So it alters what's going on within your body, your digestive system, your brain and nervous system, your immune system, certainly your adrenal glands. You know, a lot of people are like, I have adrenal fatigue syndrome. I've got to take 50 supplements. I've got to do this and I can't do that. And they're trying to manage it. So with so many of these illnesses, we're not realizing, wait a minute, if I can come into a different state and get out of fight or flight, I can allow my body to receive what it needs so that I'm not bombarded with this stress response and overwhelmed and shut down. My cells can receive what they need. So Matthew is saying, when I had a nervous breakdown, my body entered that shaking state to release the stress that I couldn't release on my own. Yeah, there is something called TRE, traumatic release. Oh, let me think what it's called. Traumatic release therapy, TRT. And I've learned a little bit about this. It's amazing. Yeah, it's called TRE because it's a trauma release exercise. But anyway, the basic premise of it is that when we release trauma, we can do it by this allowing the nervous system to kind of come into a certain shaking pattern that will release what has been held in the trauma. And that trauma could be like 20 years ago. It could be 2 minutes ago. Usually we're really shut down from allowing our body's innate expression, so we don't allow that release. And we hold the trauma for like decades of life. But when we can process this, and TRE is one of the ways you can find a practitioner to assist you, you allow the body to move into that shaking harmonic. It's pretty freaking incredible. I had learned about it in a workshop and we did it once and it was like a profound change in my life in so many ways. So this can really allow you to open, you release those barriers of protection and now you can receive. It's like, oh, there really are possibilities. Your brain is working different. Like, oh, how about if I do it this way? And like, boom, everything clicks into place and something really that's been a struggle starts just working effortlessly. I know my husband and I would do this all the time. Like, okay, what if I let go of all the ways I think this can't work? What actually is possible? And you allow yourself to open to something more fluid. And then it might come in while you're sleeping. It might come in just as you skip about your day, but your brain works very differently. Certainly that keeps your body in serenity of like, oh, there are possibilities in my life. There are resources. I really am okay. And then life will reflect that. So if you've been in fight or flight, it's the opposite. It's like you're in this tunnel vision. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. All the fears seem very real and they're amplified. And this shuts down your health. How do we get beyond this? This is really one of the main cores of the work I've done in mind-body medicine. And in the Instant Elevation program, and you can go to DrKimD.com to subscribe for sure, because I'm always sending out like a quick video about, you know, a mind-body tool that keeps you in serenity, or a mind-body tool that releases fear to turn off this fight or flight. But there are also programs and resources that I have online that you can participate in if that's a fit for you. And the Instant Elevation program is one of them, DrKimD.com/IEP. And then I guide you through these steps, and we'll do some here, to communicate with your body and let your body know, like, it's okay, you can let this go. I had a doctor I was working with yesterday in New Zealand. I would do my work on Skype, and she had this really profound expansion and breakthrough because she's been in so much fear of like, wow, I want to move into a more fluid practice, something that's more of an expression of me, something I really love. And I don't even know how that's possible. I've taken time off. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know, you know, nothing seems to be coming in. But when we allowed her body to release the fight or flight around that, which is all the judgments and conclusions and ways of thinking, that what I think is possible, what I think is not possible, all of the fears about like, what if I do let go and then I lose this thing and then I'll find something better, all of the old programs and old patterns of her experience that were sort of hooking her back into the limitation, saying, no, you can't really have what you want. You've got to work really hard and you can't just life isn't going to be a holiday. Even though she had the awareness of like, I know my life could have more fluidity. I know there is a deeper calling of what I could be serving in the world, and that I could receive from that in a way that has my life work. These fears were hooking her back into that old limitation of like, no, it's not okay. I've got to plow away and plug away and make myself work really hard, even when I don't want to. And so what we did was some mind-body tools to let her body know, like, body, it's okay. Yes, we made these conclusions, and these aren't even real. Your body, those old programs, they want to keep you safe. You actually bought into that idea as the truth, like, well, you have to work hard to make money, or there's not enough love, you have to compromise yourself for love, or whatever the ideas are. Oh, I don't have health, I am sick and ill, and I'll never have the health I want, or I have this genetic predisposition, or whatever your ideas are about a diagnosis you've received. That's gotten locked in as a program. Your body and those programs were kind of set up to help you navigate the world, figure it out, do what was required. The problem is they're not true. And they're certainly not true anymore. If they ever were kind of helpful and true, they're not true for you now. They're not serving you now. So it is so important to do a little upgrade of like, oh, I'm going to sweep all that away and let that go. I don't need to hold those conclusions. I can allow true prosperity and freedom. That opens me up to a new perception. So take a beautiful deep breath, and thank you for all of these beautiful comments. Heather is saying, after a panic attack and after the shaking, my hands and feet get very cold. Yeah, that's because the constriction of the blood flow. So your autonomic nervous system can contract, and then you're not like a tingling in your hands, you're getting an alteration in your breathing pattern. If you're in anxiety, you start breathing really fast, so it chemically alters what's happening in your body. Relaxing your physical body and allowing deep breaths is really, really a powerful way to counteract that. Heather, so the instant elevation will cover anxiety and panic. Yes. So it's really like anxiety patterns, pain patterns, and fatigue, all these major components of chronic illness. And it allows you to turn off this blockage so that you can access health. And usually that can happen very, very quickly. Sherry says, I'm in so much fear of the triple antibiotics I may have to take to heal from babesia. The herbs, ozone, the oils haven't healed it. And now I've developed allergies to them. I don't know how to fear being sick, so I can barely lift my head for 4 to 5 months. I'm not an antibiotic girl, but the infection is pretty serious at this point. How do I allow and embrace that and be at peace with that? This is a beautiful question, Sherry. A lot of times we have ideas that create resistance, like medications are bad, surgery is bad, I should heal myself. And we hold that in rigidity. And then the fluidity of life invites us in, and it's like, hey, look, here's a medication. It will help. You're going to be fine. Your body's going to be resilient enough to the side effects, and you'll move through this. It's like in an acute situation. And so if we hold resistance or judgment about this is wrong, this is bad, it will actually flare the body up and keep us contracted. And the same thing like I showed here, it's like it keeps us in this limited perception with all these barriers up because we're in fear. The brain cannot perceive the truth we're being invited into. Sometimes that truth could be super simple, like here's a great surgeon, have the surgical procedure, your body can heal. Or here's a great medication, allow yourself this course of antibiotics, stay in fluidity with receiving it so you're not judging it or making it bad and your body flares up against it. You're like, I can receive this in grace and ease. And then you can allow yourself to receive that treatment, whatever it may look like, even if it's not the herbal remedy that you thought was the right thing. When we're in the mind, it keeps us in that limitation. It keeps us in that judgment or in that limited conclusion and in our ideas about things versus what we'll do here in some exercises, allowing us to receive awareness, pure awareness, so there can be serenity. Nicole, panic attacks seem to happen out of the blue lately. I always panic more because I'm afraid to feel it. I'm afraid I'm going to pass out or go into a seizure like I have in the past. Yeah, I had the same thing years ago, and it was actually really embarrassing because if I go into a panic attack like in class, in college, or in front of other people, it was like, I can't let that happen. And one of the things that allowed me to move through that and release that pattern was being present in my body and letting my body know I didn't need to hold that fear anymore. Part of that was resolving the shame of, oh my God, I'll be so embarrassed, it's not okay. And then kind of coming into some acceptance of it, like, hey, I'm alive, I'm a human being, and stuff's gonna happen, and it might not look great, but nothing is worse than this fear, and I'm constantly wanting to make sure this doesn't happen. So I let my body relax around that and release the fear so that I could be with the anxiety, the intense panic that would arise, with greater serenity, with greater allowing. And so that allowed me to be present, like especially when you feel it coming up. And if you haven't had anxiety attacks, it could be anticipation of anything, like, oh, if I talk to my husband, he's gonna say this and that, and then this is gonna happen, and it's gonna be really bad. You're projecting something into the future that you don't want. Just take a few deep breaths and let your body know, like, wait, what if I let go of my ideas about this so I can be resilient and fluid with whatever may happen? Now you're in a greater perceptual state. Now you're in a greater harmonic and a more healthy, fluid, chemical, hormonal state. Immediately, it invites your body to begin to heal. Amy, I've been trying to reset my nervous system that is always in fight or flight because it was always in that mode from birth to 5 years old. Yeah, this is not uncommon. Experiencing acute or chronic trauma. I've tried meditation, theta healing, affirmations, etc. And although there have been some improvements, it doesn't completely change, especially in times of unexpected stress. Have you seen long and deep changes that are possible? Yes, 100%, very, very commonly, because it's great to do meditation, but then like we re-engage in our life and like re-engage in the trauma, and that same belief system or thought pattern or whatever you call it is still there. And we haven't actually allowed a new way of integrating being present to these sensations within our body, being present to this experience. So in the instant elevation and some of the things we'll do here, it's a way of allowing myself to just be in my body when things don't feel so harmonic, when things feel pretty chaotic, pretty unokay. It's like, how can I be okay with being not okay? That was a huge key for me, was not requiring myself to be in joy or in ease or, oh, everything looks good, it's all perfect, it's all good, but the other shoe's gonna drop. That's a stress state too. It's conditional. It's not the same as true freedom. So everyone take a big deep breath and just allow yourself to feel your body. You can close your eyes if you would like. And as you let your shoulders and neck relax, this is the biggest thing that will allow your physiology to shift. Let your shoulders and neck relax. That lets your nervous system reset. It lets your breathing reset. So you might find in the next few deep breaths, as you relax your shoulders and relax your neck, that your breath can come more fully into the belly, into the abdomen, into the pelvis. We shift from the chest breathing of fight or flight, anxiety, tension, high alert, into the relaxation breathing that has been shown in so many studies through Harvard Mind-Body Institute, through Stanford University, that has been shown to immediately begin the healing process, to immediately ignite the healing process in your body. Something as simple as relaxing your shoulders and your neck and allowing the breath to come more fluidly, allowing the breath to come into your body. So back pain, neck pain, headaches, all of these things that happen when we breathe into the chest, the fight or flight breathing, can be released as soon as we begin to allow that relaxation and come into a more fluid breathing. So that's the first piece. The second piece we'll do is becoming aware of this fear or anxiety or even the resistance to pain, like, oh God, I don't want to feel this pain, powerlessness, hopelessness, despair that can come, especially if we've been dealing with something for a long time. So the second step is being present to that. Be present to the physical sensations. What do I notice physically in my body? So like a little body scan, checking in. What is happening here? Your relaxed presence and awareness, your attention to that sensation, or even just to that idea of having that occurrence happen again. Your relaxed presence and attention is in itself healing. It's like shining a light into a space of darkness. It is very, very powerful. It's not the same of like as, oh, I'm aware of my problem. I'm aware of my problem. I'm so aware of my problem. It's a compassionate presence. It's a presence in allowing. And someone has asked me, yes, being okay with being not okay, or with being sick. Wow, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I feel like crap right now, and can I find a way to just be like 2% okay with it? Doesn't mean I'm like, yay, I'm so glad I have this illness. But can I just find a way to be a little more in allowing? Like, all right, this is what's coming up right now. I had an experience in the past. I used to get really sick if I drink any alcohol. And the next day it'd be this like terrible hangover. My body would be so flared up. I'd have a headache. And so it was New Year's Eve, and I had like a half a glass of champagne. And the next day I went in to do my ER shift. This was years and years ago. I was in the residency. And I remember my friend, Dr. Seneca Green, said to me, so effing what? I'm like, I feel like shit, oh my God, this is terrible. And I went into this like beating myself up. Why did I have that champagne? I should know better. Oh my God, I can't believe I did this. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I hate that I feel like this. I hate that I did this. Literally beating myself up in this regret of the past. And like, why did I do this? Maybe I didn't drink enough water. Should I drink enough? I should have drank more water. And we do this a lot. Like, what did I eat? What did I not eat? Oh my God, it must have been that gluten. And she goes, so effing what? And just looked at me like, so you feel like crap. Can you just feel like crap and like be okay with it? And it was like, well, I guess. I don't know. I had never thought about it. And the rest of the day, I decided to just be like, I feel like crap, and it's totally okay. It is totally okay that I feel exactly how I feel right now. And it was like 90% of it lifted, because it was just a physical experience. It didn't need to be bombarded by this like inflammatory internal beatdown. It became just a physical experience, and it really wasn't that big a deal. So I started to come out of it, because your body will get more fluidity. It'll absorb nutrients and water so much better when you get out of that state. So it actually can recover very quickly. But it wasn't the attachment to like, okay, I'm going to embrace this, so now I feel better. Why don't I feel better yet? It was just letting it go and not making it so important. So that was a little story of kind of the same, but I know it can be a lot more intense, where the illness can be all-encompassing. Like, I can't work, I can't live my life, I can't do what I need to do, I can't take care of my kids. Brenda says, I've tried 8 different diabetes drugs and injections, all triggered pancreatitis. Suggested my sugars are emotional buildup after environmental allergies developed after pancreatic surgery. Yeah, so it can be this like complex thing of like, oh, I gotta figure this out, and I gotta deal with this, and I gotta deal with that. And what we don't realize is like, that's part of the fight or flight. The way I'm going about approaching my body, approaching my health, is in fear. It's like, I gotta attack the disease, I gotta fight disease, I gotta fight diabetes. Well, fight and flight, that's exactly the pattern. And that's what we've been trying so hard to do in the medical field. We're gonna fight the war, cancer. And it's like, guess what? That will never work. Because when you fight your body, you both lose. Your body requires that you come into harmony with what is, with the energy of this, like what Brenda's dealing with, total powerlessness, chaos, like WTF, this makes no sense. And so when you can let everything go and allow yourself to come into just even 2% greater serenity, you will receive more. You will receive your wisdom. You will receive your guidance. You will hear. You actually can hear in some level of your perception the solutions that are already available. And they may not look like what you thought they should look. Like, I thought they should look like I don't need anything and I just heal spontaneously. Or I thought they should look like it's all natural and nothing that has pharmaceuticals, because those are bad. But sometimes the solution that's easiest for you to receive might be outside the realm of what you think it needs to look like. would you be willing to receive it anyway? Because your wisdom knows what will bring you into the greatest harmony. So we bring ourselves into that state of relaxation. Relax any stress or tension physically in the neck, in the chest, and the shoulders, because that's where we really tend to gear up to fight or flight. And then allow your breathing to become more fluid, to come into your belly, to come into your pelvis, and then be willing to feel and to perceive whatever is arising within you. When you do this relaxation and awareness, it's going to open the floodgates for a lot of crap that really wants to be heard. Old pains, old tensions, old things you stuffed away, like, I'll deal with that later. Now, in this moment, when you create the space, it may come up. And you're like, whoa, I feel worse. This must be bad. I'm doing it wrong. No, it's because you created more space that it can allow that energy that was suppressed to begin to move. So that instead of creating the blockages and the barriers of protection, that energy moves out and there's freedom. Your natural state is one of fluidity, ease, freedom, joy, health, vitality. It is not something to work for. So when you can release and allow, these energies will move through. There's a lot more in depth we can go into this. Certainly if you are subscribed, you'll receive the videos that I send out to share more on this. And if you would like to participate in the online program, the Instant Elevation, that is very, very much encouraged. I love, love, love what was created through that program and what was shared. And even if you just use one of the videos in that program and practice that for a week, it will dynamically change your relationship with what's happening within your body. So I want to share a couple more things. Nicole said, yes, I'm always worried about the future and what I don't want to happen. I still really struggle going in public because it triggers things immediately, no matter if it's a small crowd or a huge crowd. So sometimes the things that trigger us are inviting us to allow more compassion for what we feel, are inviting us to feel that crap that we stuffed under the rug. That's like, oh, as soon as my mother says this thing, or if I go in public and other people are negative, it triggers these things in me. Well, guess what? Those are unhealed pieces within you, and they're ready to be healed, or they wouldn't be being triggered right now. So can you allow and invite that? Doesn't mean go walk around Walmart and let yourself get triggered left and right like a ping pong ball. But just allow yourself to like tiptoe into it. Like, what if I do go out in a public situation and just witness what arises? The fears, the tensions, the anxieties, the hopelessness that comes up. But do it with consciousness. Relax my body, breathe fully. Feel the love and compassion for what arises in me. Fight or flight is very useful to protect us from feeling all this crap that we don't want to feel. But it's destroying our life. And we actually can allow ourselves to feel what's coming through and let it move through. It can be effortless. The more you practice, the more it is effortless. But it does take courage in the beginning, because it's all the things you thought you needed to suppress, all the things you thought were so unacceptable. And for so many of us, it is so profoundly destructive that it's like, I gotta do something else. I have to open to something else. This is exactly where the opening happens. Amy, as you're saying, to allow letting this unrest that I don't want to feel that brought up so many emotions, wow, the breathing helped. Thank you. I've not been okay with being okay about being chronically ill. I'll look forward to learning more from you. Thank you. I totally look forward to assisting you in your journey, because I love, love, love this work. And I'm going to respond to the additional comments and questions that are coming up, sending everyone so much love. This will be created into a podcast, so we'll be sharing that as well. Make sure you're subscribed at DrKimD.com if you would like more. You can also tune into the Mind Body community on Facebook. I will be here each week live at 11 o'clock Mountain, so that is 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and this is Dr. Kim, Mind Body. So much love, so many blessings to all of you. Be well, see you soon.